Hey everyone, it's your girl Cammy at Large. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about my life after the military. I'm just going to give some advice, maybe some perspective. Maybe some of you out there are thinking of staying in or getting out. I'm on both sides of the fence. I'm not taking a side, but I'm just going to give you guys my experience, what I went through, what made me decide to get out. And hopefully this will help somebody or some of you to come to an informed decision on whether or not you should stay in or get out. By no means is this a rant or any type of I don't know, negative. I'm not trying to shed any negative light on getting out or staying in. Like I said, I'm on both sides of the fence, so I'm putting these disclaimers out there. I'm not going on the rant. I'm not, hopefully I'm out to help somebody make a decision, you know what I mean, and prepare, for the decision that you make, because there's a lot that you need to prepare for, so before I get into it, please like, comment, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Maybe some of you guys have had the same experience as me, but yeah, I'm gonna get right into it. So yeah, I just got finished jogging, so yeah, I just came in, felt motivated to make a video, so but yeah, where do I start? This video might be a little long. I think I might break this video up because there's a lot that I have to cover, especially with pros and cons and just what I experienced, because my experience wasn't, I feel like my military experience wasn't the traditional, experience. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I only did 4 years. So, I mean, that's still an accomplishment, but I'm not one of those people that walks around like, oh, I was in the military, I don't know, just something. I see a lot of people do that, and it's like, you only did 2 years, like, calm down, so I'm not one of those people that likes to tote it around. It is a great accomplishment. I'm happy I did it. I have no regrets as far as joining, and yeah, like, I have, on that end, I have no regrets. So if any of you out there are looking to join the military, it is a wonderful one, especially if you are in a situation like me. I came from, just to give a little background, I had just graduated college, had my bachelor's degree, and I wanted to go to law school. So I couldn't afford it because it was way expensive, and also the time frame. I wasn't, the LSAT, I wasn't, my scores weren't right. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to go right after I graduate, so I decided to join the military. And they designated, well, I got designated as MA. Many of you probably, if you're in the Navy, MA, like a military cop. I think other branches call them MPs, military police. But yeah, I was basically an MA in the cop, in the military. Yeah, it's basically, like, it's self-explanatory, just what it is. I want to say, like, just give you guys a little bit of motivation before I get into the pros and cons. Just like going through boot camp, and someone, I think it was a chief, I can't remember. We had like, boot camp was, fun. I always tell people boot camp was fun. You know what I mean? And I'll probably do a video about that. But in the Navy, there was I think it was a first class or a second class. We had a chief, a first class, and a second class. And I think I can't remember which one said it, but going in, and this is just for any of you who are thinking about joining the Navy, any branch really. I think you can even apply this philosophy, to any type of challenge you pursue, maybe. But one of them said, it's a game, you know what I mean? Like, it's a game. It's a mind game. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you will hear that if you look up any type of video, or, if you're ready to ship off to boot camp, that it's a game, and I don't mean that I'm not trying to be comical in any type of way when I say that. No, it's not a game. It's real. It's very real, and the mission is very real, and it is something that you should take seriously. However, just the phrase that it's a game, and it's very hard for me to explain without it coming off in a certain type of way. So if it does offend someone, please do not take it to heart. It's the best way that I can clarify this. But basically, when I say that it's a game, for all intents and purposes, I mean fake it till you make it, you know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people, you know, fake it till you make it. That's just kind of, you know, I've lived by that, you know. I mean, granted, there are times when no, you know, you can't, but for me, I was always the type of, and I feel like my military career, the 4 years that I was in, I feel like I was able to excel, you know what I mean? And I'll tell you in a little bit, like, just what I mean by that. But just I kept my head, you know, low, you know what I mean? I stayed out of trouble, you know, and I basically, in my military career wasn't as hard as, you know, a lot of people, you know, have it right now, you know, and a lot of it was just staying out of trouble, you know. A lot of it was actually caring to do the job and taking it seriously, you know. And there's a lot of immature people, as with anything, there's always going to be, you know, immature people who make the wrong decisions, and they end up getting caught up and end up, you know, not making it, or getting in trouble and being looked over. And, you know, so I was very happy with the way my military career went. Yeah, so basically after I graduated, I got shipped off to boot camp. And after that, went to A school and did all that. And my first duty station, yeah, so it was definitely an experience. I'm going to say being in the military, just looking at it in hindsight, being out now, it's definitely, there's a saying, like, they're going to get their blood from you, basically. Like, there's no, even though I just said, like, you know, I had, you know, a pretty smooth, you know, career. However, it was mentally, you know, mentally draining, you know, mentally, and it definitely can be physically draining at times. So, with that being said, you know, I have my notes over here. So, yeah, that basically keep my head low, you know, and that kept me going. You know what I mean? Like, just staying out of trouble, doing what I'm told, actually studying the material, and actually, because a lot of it is study based. Like, your job is study. There's a manual. There's something you have to study. The exam. You know what I mean? Like, there's something you have to study. It's all, you know, a lot of it is book knowledge. You know, a lot of what you need to know is on some sort of, you know, some book or some packet that you have to read and memorize, and, you know, and then you do the job. You know, it's you know, it is what it is. You know, that's a lot of it, and a lot of things are like that, you know, in life. But yeah, that's how it was. You know, and for me, I always had the goal of pursuing an education further, you know, so I did not have a goal of staying in past 4 years. So, yeah, just, I want you guys to keep that philosophy. I know it might be going all over the place, but keep that philosophy in your head. Like, it's a game, and the better you are at playing it, the farther you will go. The better at playing it, the easier it will be. You know what I mean? And it's almost as if, you know, you have to, you know, they mold you into someone that is who they want you to be, you know what I mean? Like, who they need you to be, you know? And that doesn't mean you can't be yourself, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean you can't, you know, have friends and party. You just have to be responsible about it, you know? Like, just be responsible, and, you know, generally, if you stay out of trouble, you will have a smoother career. So, yeah, let's get into the pros. Wait. Let me backtrack. Oh. Okay, so I got out, and I'm in school now. You know, I'm in law school now. So, got out, I want to say 9 months ago. And, yeah, I literally, once again, have no regrets. I literally had a plan, did everything I was supposed to do. And now I'm just here. I mean, I definitely feel a lot happier, to be honest. And I'll probably make a whole different video about that, just about just my personal issues with being in the military. Don't get me wrong, I'm proud of serving, and I would never degrade the military or anything like that. Me personally, though, just why I got out, I'll make a video about that if you guys want to see something like that. Okay, so let me get into it. Okay, pros. Okay, so if you got any of you think about joining the military, it is, like I said, it's a wonderful opportunity. Especially if you want to get up and get out of your surroundings and go somewhere different. It is amazing. Like it will change your life. You know what I mean? Like it can change. It has the power to change your life. Like if you're somebody who comes from maybe a lower income family, maybe you're someone who like I've seen people get their what is it called? Take their citizenship. Get their citizenships. If they join or something. I forget what the program is called, but yeah, like it has the opportunity to literally, it could change your life. You know what I mean? Like, and that's one thing that I'm like, I love that about the military. They take care, especially, I can't speak on other branches, but the Navy, they take care of their people. And that's one thing that I've seen over and over again, just actually being there and seeing it. You know what I mean? Like, I was like fortunate enough to be chosen to be a clerk, so, and this is like, I'm going to say after a year in, I was chosen to be a clerk. I had administrative background. Like one of my chiefs asked me if I had administrative background, and I did. So so I was chosen to be a clerk. I was still a cop, but I was a clerk, so I had to deal with all the transactional functions, all the administration duties, and making trackers and all this other stuff. So, and I literally saw how the Navy took care of their people. You know what I mean? Like they will take care of you. You know what I mean? Like people, this random, like just stuff that you wouldn't even know. You know what I mean? Like even now, me being out, the Navy still takes care of me, and I'm still kind of grateful. Like I'm so grateful that I was able to serve and do my time and get out, and they're still taking care of me. So that's one thing, is like they will take care of you. That's a pro. Like that's solid pro. Like and off that alone, I'm glad that I served. Is that they will take care of you. Okay, so some realistic things, like money. You know what I mean? Of course, that's a pro, but it could also be a con. It's a pro because it's like everyone knows you get paid first and 15. You will get paid unless there's, I think there was like a military shutdown where there was like, I forget if I got paid or not, but you will get paid. You know what I mean? Like you will have a check in your account the 1st and the 15th. You will get paid. There's no doubt about that. However, the con side to that is that, if you're somebody who's, a little bit older, maybe you're looking to make a career out of the military, I feel like, I'm just going to like, okay, so in 4 years, I was making, I want to say about 40,000, between 40 and 43, and that's with VH included. So as a E4, I got out as an E4. So I was making about 43,000, maybe 40, 43, I don't know, but between that range. And I had put in 4 years of work. So for me, that's a little like, okay, 4 years, and I'm only making, and it depends on how you look at it. Some people might think that's, great, and it is great considering that you have consistent money coming in. However, I've seen people 8 years, and let's say you're making 50, and it's like you put in 8 years, you're making 50. So it's kind of, will you ever reach, especially if you have like a sort of, money goal or something like that, or you have a certain salary that you have as a goal. And it's like, will you ever make 6 figures, or will you ever, and granted, you can save money, like that's another another pro, is that you can save so much money, especially with having consistent money. Like I was able to save so much money, just so much money. Like that's so much money. Not like that, like crazy money, but I was able to save even on 40 to 43,000 a year. I was able to save a substantial amount of money. So that's another pro. However, the con side, it's, you may not reach, 6-figure level, you know what I mean, unless you're maybe an officer, or you've been in for a really long time. But then again, it's like a lot of people who, there is ways, there's always ways to make more money. You can have a side job, you can do various things, but just doing the military alone, I feel like you probably, unless you are up on top of the chain, 6 figures is very, kind of far out, you know. So I feel like putting in 20 years, and some people, you know, making maybe a little bit less. I don't know how much, you know, maybe somebody can do the math, but being in 20 years, is there any, maybe somebody can answer the question, is there anybody who's making six figures, basically? And no, like, especially with no jobs on the side, you know, I have yet to meet a person in my, you know, just in my, because there's a few military students that I go to school with who were like chiefs and stuff, and they did 20 years, and you know, they're not making six figures, you know. So it's like, you put in 20 years, yeah, you get retirement, you know, and that's another pro, is that you have retirement. Most other careers don't, you know. So it's a you know, yeah, it tips the scale, you know, either way, you know. So okay, so what else? I have you constantly meet new people. You constantly make bonds. That's one thing that I do. I know I said I don't regret anything, but that's one of the things. I take it back. That's one of the things that I do kind of miss, you know, is that you meet people and you make these bonds, and these bonds are just different. You know what I mean? It's like you go through a process with somebody, and it's like you have this bond that only they can understand, you know, and I kind of miss that. So it's one of the things. What else? Like I said, career. You can make a career out of it. 20 years. I've met people who got in and just want to do 20 years, and I'm like, that's amazing, because you know they're set, you know, for 20 years. So that's also great. Health, you know what I mean? Like amazing health. Well, I mean, that could be debatable, you know, is that you will always have health care. You know, like I said, the Navy takes care of their people, you know, and even on the flip side, getting out, you know, as being a veteran, and being a veteran, you have access to VA, like the VA healthcare system. You can, if you want a video about that, like, you have to meet a certain criteria though. Like you do have to, like, I can't get VA healthcare. I have like insurance through my husband's job, so we don't qualify for the VA healthcare. But it's like if you make under a certain amount, you can get VA healthcare benefits. There's all sorts of stuff like that they don't tell you, or that some people gloss over in the military, is that they don't know that they have so many options when they get out. Like there's so many different, like I really need to make a separate video about it. Like there's so many things that you guys need to know about, that like when you get out, like people think it's the end of the world. Like, oh no, you know, I can't get out because I won't have this. No, there's things put in place, you know, that can help you. Like my brother, he's doing it right now, like where he's enrolled in the VA healthcare plan, and you basically just have to call up the VA, and they'll determine if you're eligible. You have to give them like your payment information and stuff like that, like your payment history, if you have a job, blah, 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 you know, all that stuff. But and they'll determine if you qualify for it. But yeah, there's like things like that, you know, as far as healthcare. So that again, you know what I mean? Like it's another thing. Granted, it doesn't beat free healthcare, but it's something that's kind of like, okay, the world's not over if I get out of the military and I don't have insurance, because there are backup plans. You know what I mean? Like there is, like I said, the military takes care of their people, and I'll keep saying that over and over again. Okay, so another thing is structure and discipline. Okay, so I've always said this, but for people who already are disciplined, you know, I feel like I had already been somebody who had already been. I've never been the type to be out of control, you know. However, I know there are people who probably do need some structure in their life and do need discipline and need to learn how to, you know, follow orders. And, you know, it does teach you how to follow orders, how to respect people. And generally, that's what it does. It teaches you how to respect people, because I've seen, you know, some people who had some attitude problems, some people who, you know, they probably didn't grow up, or they weren't raised, you know, right. And the military does, you know, kind of give some structure, give some discipline, and, you know, it helps out a lot. You know, it could be the difference between you getting a job and you not getting a job, you know, just structure and discipline. Okay, and my last thing, I might be missing a few things, but these are the big ones. Retirement. You know, like I said, a lot of people can't, you know, enter retirement. You know, their jobs just simply don't, you know, offer it, you know, and military does you know, there's so many benefits with retirement. You know, it's like you get out, you do your 20, you get out, and you're still, you know, getting retirement benefits and all sorts of stuff, you know, getting a check, you know. So Like I said, like with the whole money thing, maybe like maybe you won't make six figures. Maybe all that added up amounts to six figures, So, yeah, those are my pros. What else I got over here? Okay, so as far as cons, just these are just some things I've noticed, like just being in the military, is that it's constantly changing. There's no consistency. It's always changing. Always. There's a new instruction. There's this. There's that. You can't just you can't just ride the train. There's always a detour. There's always something new, and it keeps you on your feet. But it's also kind of like frustrating. It's just like things keep changing. I just wanted something to be consistent, and I did not like the fact that it changed all the time. So, but that's just life, but that's one of them. Abuse of power is another thing I have on there, and that's probably a whole nother video, but I feel like a lot of people do, what do they call it? Oh my God, what do they call it? They are just power hungry, and it does, like, a lot of people abuse their rank, you know what I mean? I've seen it, I've seen it. That's another thing. It's just like there's a system, but then again, it's kind of like there's all these systems when you get out and you have a boss or something like that. There might be, and that's with anything. But however, I've seen it a lot with, in the military. It's just, versus being out in the world, maybe working a job, and you have a boss who's saying certain things to you, and you can report them. You have HR. You have a whole department that's meant for, reporting them. In the military, it's kind of like a lot of things get swept under the rug, and and I feel like there's a lot of abuse of power that goes along with it, and I understand there's a mission, and however they're going about that mission, you don't have to abuse, people mentally, you know what I mean, and, just to accomplish a mission. Sometimes you do. I get it. Sometimes you do. However, at the rate that I've seen it, it's unnecessary, so that's just one of the things about that, and that's probably just a different video in and of itself. It's another thing. Being away from your family is another reason, another con. I've seen people get families ripped apart, just kind of having to deploy. Thank goodness I never had to, but I've seen it, just someone having to leave behind their wife and child to go overseas, or a mother having to leave her child behind, a father having to leave his child behind, just being away, and it is one of those professions it's not something that is really normal. You don't see that, with average jobs outside the military. Sorry. But yeah, and it's one of the things that's like, man, and that's one of the cons, and one of the things you guys should think about is that maybe you won't be away. Things happen, and sometimes you won't always be there, to see your child grow up, or to see, but hey, I've seen some people, look, I'm going, like, it's fun to travel, and some people are like, they take, a different approach to being away from, their children, is that, hey, I'm out here making this money, you know what I mean? I'm out here putting food on the table. I'm out here doing this, that, and the other. So it's kind of like it's a risk to reward, this risk to reward ratio. And, they find that it's better, they'd rather be, away and making this money, putting food on the table, and bills are constantly, getting paid. And it depends on you as a person, if you're willing to make that sacrifice. Yeah, so especially right now, like, I think, like during COVID, like a lot of, people are having to stay, like a lot of service members are having to stay where they are because of travel bans and stuff like that. And it's, they're extending it 6 months, and then who knows what's going to happen. So, situations like this right now, things get really hard. And that goes into my next point, is like depression and suicide rate. Granted, most jobs have some sort of, most big professions, that have a lot of people in, like the military, have, they're going to have, of course, some sort of suicide rate, or they're going to have a higher amount because it's a lot of people. So proportionate to the amount of people that are in, yeah, the suicide rate is crazy in the military. It's just, it's, you know, it's depressing because it can be depressing, you know, being away from your family for so long. And that goes to my previous point, is just being away from your family, just being away and not having your support system, you know. And even like me being in, I felt, you know, depressed a few times because I wasn't around my family. I was away in different town, different state, and yeah, it can be very depressing. So that's another thing that you, but I feel like you can combat that with just staying in touch with your family. My brother was in the Marines, and when he went away, he kind of just stopped calling. You know what I mean? So it was kind of hard for us to help, and he was also dealing with that, you know, and it was kind of hard for us to communicate because he wasn't calling, he wasn't, you know. So yeah, like that's one thing, you know, make sure you stay in touch with your family members, you know, and your friends, and, you know, make friends, you know, that's another thing, like make friends, go out, you know, don't stay in your room all the time, you know, it's not the end of the world. So yeah, sorry. Okay, okay, so me getting out, right now, like I said, like things are just, like I said, I had my personal issues, you know, with the military. Overall, I'm happy that I served. Let me say that again. Overall, I'm happy and honored that I served. And I'm proud, you know what I mean, to have served. So, however, there are things that I didn't like, you know, and just like with anything, you know, if you don't like it, there's opportunities for you to get out, you know, and yeah, now I'll probably address that in a different video, like I said. And what else do I have here? Yeah, like, yeah, things are just, I'm out. I feel free. Like I don't really have to report to anyone. I don't have to request to go to a different state. You know, I don't have to request to go somewhere. So, things are just, I generally feel better, you know, just mentally, physically I feel better. And that's just the honest truth, you know. So what I suggest, like if any of you are thinking of getting out, oh my God. Sorry y'all, Sophie is back. Here's my cat. But no, not on the table. Oh, Jesus. Okay. So, if any of you are getting out, make sure you have a plan. And I'll probably, once again, another video, I'll probably address that. Like having a plan, like if you are getting out, make sure you have a plan in place. And that's where a lot of people fail, is that when they get out, they have nothing, they didn't plan right, and now things have hit the fan, and now it's like, oh crap, I'm sitting at home, I'm a meatball sitting at home, not doing anything. And you know, so I'm gonna address that in another video too. I have so many videos I want to do about the military. But yeah, have a plan. If there's anything I can tell you, if anybody's thinking about getting out, have a plan in place. Go to school, pick up a trade. There's things in place, you know what I mean, to where you can get out and it won't be as dreadful as a lot of people make it seem. It's really not. It's really not. But yeah, hopefully you guys found this video helpful. Please like, comment, subscribe. I don't think I'm missing anything else. But yeah, it should go Cami at large. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Have a good one.